Hi you beautiful human, and welcome back to my channel and for another video. I'm actually right now going to give my urine samples to the laboratory, and I'm going to make a vlog style video today and update you about my pregnancy. Now it's done. It was actually quite simple. I just went to the laboratory, then I took the waiting number, and then I waited for a little while, and I went to the room, gave the sample that I had been taking already at home, and then the lady was just like, yeah, we will then have the answers ready for Monday, so you can go and call back to the maternity clinic on Monday. So that was easy. I'm going to tell you a little later about why I was going to give my urine sample. So later this video I will be talking about that, but I wanted to give you a vlog style update on my pregnancy, because the last updates I did was when I was at week 7, and now I'm almost at the end of week 18 and starting week 19 in 2 days, so the upcoming Sunday. Now it's Friday, so there's a lot to talk about, but I think that you have been seeing me talking way too much in the previous videos, so I will do it in like a short way and make it in a vlog style, so it will be maybe a little more interesting. And like you can see, it has been snowing in Finland, and I'm really happy because I've been waiting for the snow for a long time. It snowed about a week ago, but then it melted, and now it's again a little more light outside thanks to the snow. And now we are just waiting for having way more snow before Christmas. Home, and coffee is almost ready to be taken, and I have a little time to relax and to just talk to you before I have to start practicing for tomorrow's small little gig that we have at our church. Actually, we are going to, with a small band, we are going to play 3 Christmas songs, and my husband and a little bit of I have been working a lot for the project or the gig, and we are really excited to see the outcome. But anyways, this vlog wasn't supposed to be about music or anything like that. I think I should probably first start talking about what's up with me, like why haven't I been making any updates, and what has happened over these like 3 months that have passed by. Time flies, and I'm really shocked that I'm almost in the middle of my pregnancy, and the baby is coming really soon. So I have to be at the church by 5 o'clock. And before that, I have to practice by myself here at home for the songs, because then at 5 we are going to practice with the band. So now that coffee is ready, we are ready to talk. I have a relatively small cup of coffee here because I have like the coffee is somewhere here and the rest is milk. But I really enjoy having coffee from time to time, even though I'm pregnant, because the guidelines that we follow in Finland, they say that you are allowed to have a little amount of coffee per even day, unless you drink like 1 or maximum 2 cups, because the amount of caffeine that you are allowed to have is relatively small. But anyways, I drink so little coffee that it doesn't affect anything, I believe, so I'm fine with drinking coffee. Well, what has happened during the past 3 months? When I last updated you, I think I was still working in the Central Hospital of Finland, or like the university hospital, I mean. And then I had a small break for a week before I had to start my third practice, which was a mental health practice, and that lasted also for 4 weeks. So each of my practices have lasted for 4 weeks, and they have like been one after the other, except for that one week break. And after the mental health practice that lasted for 4 weeks, I had my last practice for this fall, and that was my home care practice, so working and helping people who live at their homes but they still need help, and then healthcare workers come to help them at home so that they don't have to go into like these elderly homes, but they still can live in their own homes while getting help and assistance in there. So the mental health practice, it was going to be hard for me anyways, because I am really sensitive, and now that I was pregnant when I started, I knew that I was going to be even more sensitive because of the hormones and everything. So I was a little surprised by how I reacted at first when I started my mental health practice, because for the first week I thought that I wasn't going to make it, because it was really rough mentally and also a little physically, because I was still feeling nauseous every day, all day long. But then it was mentally really draining, because I tend to leave other people's emotions also, if it makes any sense. And then when you are pregnant, everything is even more like exaggerated, and therefore it was really tough. But then luckily I met another student there, and because we started talking together and hanging out at the practice place together doing stuff, so it helped a lot, because I got to speak to her and we got to share all our experiences and emotions, and that was so helpful, and I'm so grateful for her, for you if you are watching. You know who you are. And then eventually I got to finish my practice really fine, and there was no problems. Other symptoms that I was experiencing, like in the late first trimester and in the beginning of my second trimester, were, well, of course, the nausea that I had until week 9, I think, or even week 10. And I still haven't vomited even once, which I'm really grateful for. But then I started having pains around my hip area and my back. So one night I was sleeping normally, and I usually now sleep on my side. And then suddenly during the night I wake up, and I had this really bad, like, hip pain that when I shifted to my other side, it stopped for a little while, but then it came back on the other side. Then I shifted, and then it came back on the other side again. So it was like a constant shifting sides, but nothing helping. And then one weekend when I was cleaning here around the house or the apartment, and I had to arrange again the animals' room because we had to arrange the cages so that it would be better for my back, because bending down later in the pregnancy would be harder. It was quite hard to reach to the guinea pig cage at the time. So I knew that I couldn't lift heavy things, so everything that was too heavy for me, I asked for Daniel to help me with, and then I just normally cleaned everything. But apparently that was too much for my back, and in the end of the day, I was in so much pain. I have never been in so much pain that comes from my back. When I tried to sit, it was hurting so much, and then in the end of the day, just before going to bed, I almost couldn't even walk anymore. And then when I went to bed, I couldn't even raise my legs. I couldn't move them. I couldn't do anything. I was just laying in my bed and hoping that I wouldn't have to call an ambulance in the morning or something, because I wasn't even sure if I was going to make it to work. Well then, during the night, I of course had to go to pee, because that was also one of the symptoms, that I had to wake up every night to go to pee at least once. And I made it to the toilet, but it was so hard. It was so painful. But then the morning came, and luckily I woke up together with Daniel, and he was still there when I was struggling to walk. But then when I walked for a while I was doing like my morning stuff, I started to lose the pain, and then finally, even though it wasn't like that I was walking normally like usually, I still could walk. And then I went to work, but then I had to like take it really easy, because if I would lift anything, even some light things, it would hurt my back. So after that episode of pain in my back and in my hip area, I have had hip and back pain quite often, almost weekly. But then in the beginning of my second trimester, I didn't have so intense pains anymore. Well, that one time was the really intense one, and after that I haven't had that intense pain, but like occasional aches and pains have come to my back and hip area after that. But then now that I'm almost at week 19, I started having these lower back pains that come usually when I am laying down on my back, and then when I get up, and then when I'm standing, and if I'm putting more pressure on the other leg, when I correct my weight, I will have this pain and the feeling that I'm like losing my leg. That's not the word, but anyways, you probably get what I mean. Like that I would lose control over my leg or something. And then if I have been standing for a long time or have been walking a lot, then I will have lower back pains, which is not nice, but that's part of the process, and I'm okay with that, unless it becomes really painful and makes my daily living too hard. Enough about pains. Then, I haven't had any cravings And overall, my pregnancy has been quite easy, I have to say. This is a hard topic, kind of, because I don't want to say that pregnancy is easy, or that I would necessarily enjoy being pregnant. I have to say that pregnancy is hard mentally and physically. For now, it hasn't been that hard for me physically, but mentally maybe more, because it's really like, how should I say, it's hard to see your body changing all the time. It's hard to see how you are changing even in here. Like, I'm grumpy so often, and I feel so bad for Daniel that he has to be with a grumpy person all the time. And then I feel sometimes that I cannot think straight all the time because of this cloud of emotions or something. But that's a part of pregnancy, and that's eventually going away when the baby is here. Well, in the beginning maybe not, because there will be other hormone clouds, but then at least some of the pregnancy time symptoms will be gone. When I've been telling to some people about my symptoms, they are always like, "Oh, so you have had a really easy pregnancy." And I'm like, yeah, I have. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, well, it's not normal for my body to be pregnant, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's normal for women to get pregnant and to carry a baby and everything. Pregnancy is a totally normal thing. But still, at the same time, because I'm a first-time pregnant mama-to-be, it's not normal for me, and the changes are quite shocking for me to understand and to accept. That's the word that I've been looking for the whole time. Something that is also quite emotionally hard for me is that I've always been quite small. Weight-wise and size-wise. But now, which is also so normal, and everybody goes through that because they are pregnant, come on. But my body is expanding. So you saw those 2 updates that I made, and I was always like, oh, I feel like my belly is growing. But for the longest time, I felt like in the upper part of my belly, I had this little bump kind of, but that was probably my intestines that had shifted up. And then bloating, that was major, especially in the beginning. But then for a little while, especially when I started my second trimester, I was like, well, I feel like my belly isn't growing and everybody else's bellies are growing, and what is wrong with me? But then, now that for the past week, perhaps, that my belly has started to grow a lot, and people have started to notice, it has been at the same time so wonderful, and I'm so excited that people get to see finally that I'm pregnant and not just loving food a lot, which I still do. I love food so much, but that it's not only just food, but it's also a baby. So it's really exciting, but at the same time, I cannot fit to my clothes. I had a party of a relative yesterday, a graduation party, and when I was trying on clothes a couple days before the graduation party, I realized that nothing fits me. Then luckily I had one like a tight dress that you can buy from, for example, H&M, and then I had a blazer and I had them because they were the only things that fit me anymore. So it's quite hard to adapt to these changes that are happening. But maybe it'll become easier over time. At least I hope so. There have been many small little symptoms that I've had during this journey, and one of them is nose bleeding that I have every day nowadays. It's not that it bleeds all the time, like, but occasional bleeding and other small symptoms like that, but nothing major. I almost forgot to show you my 18-week pregnancy belly, so here it is. So then, about the peeing, and why did I go and give my urine sample to the laboratory?